On this episode, Crispy presents widescreen perspectives. Gonna talk about the whole recent controversy with a Ukrainian woman winning Miss Japan, which is wild, by the way. And Republican Senator Tom Cotton grilling the TikTok guy. Apparently he doesn't realize that Singapore, Singapore and China are two different countries. The 20 years later zombie movie finally getting a sequel. That's pretty dope if you're into zombie movies. Asian couple gets a huge settlement after this weird, super messed up mishap with the clinic. And Asian folks winning big at the Golden Globes this past year. So stay locked, alright? So, this is an interesting story. Apparently, Miss Japan 2024 was won by a model of Ukrainian descent, and it's sparking a lot of debate online. So let me just read this off. Carolina Shino, a 26-year-old Japanese model of Ukrainian descent, became the center of controversy after winning the title Miss Japan 2024 on Monday. She was born in Ukraine and then moved to Japan at the age of 5 after her mom remarried a Japanese man. And she became the first naturalized Japanese citizen to win the contest, the pageant. I guess I'm not too familiar with pageants, to be honest. And, she said in her acceptance speech, I've had to face barriers that often prevented me from being accepted as Japanese. So I am filled with gratitude to be recognized at this competition as a Japanese person. And I don't know how I feel. I don't know if I'm against it or for it. I'm curious because I don't know what the country Japan's, like the government stance on, what's going on with, Ukraine and Russia. I don't know if that played a role in it or not. And, I know that it's getting a lot of attention, which is maybe what they're going for. I know there was some controversy a few years back. I forget who the name was. Lady, her mom was Japanese and her dad was African American, black, and I believe he was military, so that's not too unusual. But she was born in Japan, so that makes a little more sense. But then, her, Carolina, being born in Ukraine and then, becoming a naturalized citizen after the fact, I don't know. I'm assuming that they knew that there would be outrage, right? And Japan is one of the few, first world countries whose population is mostly homogenous, which, don't know what that means. It just means that most people are ethnically Japanese. Whereas, a country like America is pretty diverse, right? There's so many variations, Asian American, African American, Mexican American, you know what I mean? So, I'm curious. Feel free to let me know, in my comments or, on social media or whatnot. Does this get a pass for you guys? Does this raise an eyebrow? Is this something where yeah, it's cool, whatever. She grew up there. She's Japanese. I think culturally she's Japanese. But again, this is just on the outside looking in. So I'm not really going to have a stance one way or the other because I honestly don't know, Really, how Japanese people feel about Miss Japan, apparently. So let me know what you think. racist politician news, I guess. If you guys can't tell just from the sound of my voice, I'm just not even offended at this news, I'm just annoyed. U.S. Senator Tom Cotton, Republican Senator Tom Cotton, which should already be a dead giveaway right there, went to question Mr. Shu Chu. Dude runs TikTok in America, right? And for those of you guys that don't know, he's Singaporean, from Singapore. And for those of you guys that don't know, Singapore is a separate country from China. By the way, Singapore is a really nice country, like really clean. You can walk at all times of the day and not worry because it's not really any bad parts of town, because they're really, really strict. Like, you can get the death penalty if they catch you with drugs. I think, I could be mistaken, I think I read somewhere, it's like you get 7 years for shoplifting or something. Like, they're crazy strict, but like it's really safe because they're so strict. Some of these cities here, stateside, definitely could probably be a little stricter, but that's a whole different convo. But yeah, dude had to tell him, the clip that's going around, dude had to tell him 7 times at least that a guy from Singapore isn't Chinese. It has nothing to do with the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. And a lot of this stems from the fact that TikTok is the American version of a Chinese app. And there are folks that see that as a bad thing, and there are some privacy issues on TikTok. I'm not going to pretend like there aren't. At the same time, there's a lot of privacy issues on all of our apps, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all that stuff, but I wonder why they're not held to anywhere close to the same degree of scrutiny. I don't know. It's just the fear-mongering, the anti-Chinese rhetoric is annoying. And this is an issue that's specific to the right, even recently. On the left side, most recent example, Nancy Pelosi, she was getting yelled at by some folks that supposedly had ties to China, and telling them to go back to China, despite the fact that there's no Asian people or Chinese people. And some folks are brushing off. Some self-hating Asian folks are like, hey, there's no Asian people. What's wrong? They got ties to China. And they don't overlook the fact that this type of rhetoric, especially from politicians, shouldn't be acceptable. And it's just tiring having to deal with this. And this is not something that's just recent memory. This is constant. This is something that's as American as apple pie, just anti-Asian rhetoric, constantly, being pushed as the perpetual foreigner, peril, all these things, even the positive Asian rhetoric, the amount of minority nonsense, like, it's dehumanizing. Like, it's something that, works against us, because we're not seen as people, we're just seen as caricatures. I don't know, I'm just going off on a rant here, but I don't know what y'all think. Is it cool to constantly ask a dude that's not Chinese and telling you that he's not Chinese? Is it cool to ask them if they're Chinese? Because in my opinion, after the first time, I would think you would figure out that a person that's not Chinese is not Chinese. I don't know. So I want to talk about something that's not Asian/Asian American related. Because the name of the show, Widescreen Perspectives, is just talking about life and culture and whatnot from an Asian American perspective. So, for those of you guys that like horror, zombie type stuff, Walking Dead, all that, Train to Busan type of stuff, 28 years later. So, for those of you guys that maybe aren't familiar or whatnot, this will be the third movie, a very long sequel from 28 weeks later that came out a good while ago. Actually, I actually don't remember the exact dates, but for those of you guys on the outside, not familiar or whatnot, 28 Days Later was kind of like that first zombie movie that made fast-running zombies a thing. Because usually before that, it'd just be slow walking, slow moving, right? And it was scary in that regards. But having zombies that could run straight up became absolutely terrifying. And that's what 28 Days Later would popularize. Now you're seeing World War Z, which I wish that got a sequel because I enjoyed it though that third act is rough. And Walking Dead is very cool. Kingdom, a phenomenal zombie show on Netflix, does not get talked about enough. Would definitely recommend watching it. The zombie show set in feudal Korea. Dope show. But it's taking place, I was hoping it was going to be 28 months later. That was teased for the longest, and it just never happened. But the guys in charge said, enough time's passed, that they can do 28 years later, right? And it's interesting. I'm curious how they'll take, what kind of direction they'll take, because the way that 28 weeks later ended, there was a zombie outbreak in Britain, London, somewhere up in Europe. Obviously, you can't tell, my geography skills are horrible. Don't really know much about that part of the world. But by the end of 28 weeks later, after they tried to, clean up an area and, take out all the zombies and whatnot and try to move people back in slowly, there's another outbreak and it all fell apart. U.S. Army couldn't, hold things down. By the end of it, it kind of teases that the zombies, got into Paris, France, because the ending shot has zombies running towards the Eiffel Tower. So basically now zombies escaped the UK and got onto the European continent, which is crazy. And now, I think I read somewhere they're thinking about exploring what happens when a zombie outbreak kind of goes worldwide. There's these outbreaks not just in the UK, Europe, but in other parts of the world, which is kind of similar to what The Walking Dead is, but it's 28 days later, and this franchise kind of started in Europe. So I'm just geeking out, by the way. So you can skip ahead, or if you're listening to this on YouTube, you can skip ahead and timestamp. Probably should have stayed at the beginning. I'm just curious, do you guys like zombie stuff, horror movies, whatnot? If you do, let me know what's your favorite. If you don't, tell me why. I'm curious, I want to know what you guys think. Alright, so an Asian American couple from NYC just reached a settlement for an undisclosed sum with a fertility clinic that accidentally implanted the wrong embryos, right? So they went to a facility, CJ facility clinic in Southern Cali, and got 8 embryos for pregnancy for the couple. Once they got pregnant, mom was told it's gonna have to be twin girls. Pretty cool. I mean, twins kind of be stressful because, double. But, it is what it is, trying to get pregnant. And, I've read that, trying to go the embryo route is expensive, but I know for some couples, pregnancy can be challenging. So if you got the money, it's an option. They were surprised when the mom gave birth to 2 white dudes instead of 2 Asian girls. How the hell? Now, according to the lawsuit, the clinic accidentally implanted 2 male embryos from 2 different families. What the hell is going on with this clinic? Weeks after giving birth, the couple was forced to give up the 2 babies to their respective biological parents. And to quote, "She carried my child for 9 months. She fed him, took care of him, and changed his diapers. It could have ended up differently." Yeah, imagine if the parents that got the wrong kids literally put inside them did not care. It could have gone horribly wrong. "I pray for her every day. She was a victim of this as much as I am. She's a lovely lady. She raised my baby inside of her and after he was born. It's been a long road for them," the attorney for them said. It's still obviously a touchy subject for them. And reportedly, the 2 parents, the ones that got the payout, got the settlement, still don't know what happened to their 8 embryos. There's a decent chance that they could be born, right, put into another couple or another, expecting mother and give birth to those children and possibly not know who their parents are, like their biological parents, which is crazy to think about. And I can't imagine. I hope that settlement was huge, because it's already stressful enough if you're trying to go this route and, just having to pay a small fortune to go through this process. I can't imagine how much stress this must cause. This must, excuse me, I'm saying that wrong. This must cause, on top of these already stress of being expectant parents, man. So, I don't know. What y'all think? And to end things off on, more cheerful news, because that last story was wild. At the Golden Globes, some Asian folks, some Asian shows and movies won. So, the big show that was on Netflix, Beef, and the creator, Lee Sung-jin, take home the Golden Globe for Best Limited Series, Anthology Series, and Made-for-TV Movie, Beef. Definitely, pretty dope. Would recommend it if you haven't seen it already. Also, side note, Warrior comes out in like a week or so definitely check that out as well when it drops on Netflix. Next one, Studio Ghibli's The Boy and the Heron wins Best Anime Feature. Alright, so shout out to them. Honestly, those Studio Ghibli movies, man, I feel like they're one of the few animation studios out of Japan that we get in the West that treats it like a Best Picture art form, as opposed to chip way you think animation or anime like Dragon Ball Z or Naruto or something, which is dope in its own own respect, but I just appreciate Studio Ghibli for treating animation as a super highbrow art medium. Next one, Lily Gladstone makes history as she wins Best Actress in a Motion Picture and Drama for a role in Killers of the Flower Moon. Alright, I'm not familiar, but that's cool. Ali Wong becomes the first winner of Asian descent to win Best Actress in a limited series, which was in Beef. Pretty dope. And then Steven Yeun or Steven Yeun, I forget how you pronounce that. He had a whole thing on Conan explaining that. I don't remember. He becomes the first Korean American to win Best Actor in a limited series, the dude that played Glenn on The Walking Dead. Honestly, that's probably my favorite right there out of these 5. Like, I'm just happy for this dude the most. Just because it's nice to see a dude, an Asian dude, that's not, like, so self-deprecating to the point that it comes off as self-hate, just doing well, you know, in Hollywood, all places, because there really has been great representation for Asian folks, especially Asian men. So I'm just happy he's getting his respect and just doing well with meaningful roles. So props to him. And I hope to see more of this stuff too in the future. I don't know. What do you guys think? You guys seen any of these shows or movies? Let me know in my mentions on social media and YouTube. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Crispy Presents Widescreen Perspectives. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want me to talk about next. Hit up my comments, my DMs. And be sure to follow me on Spotify, whatever your podcast app is. Be sure to leave me some 5-star reviews. We definitely appreciate it. And be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WS Perspectives with an S at the end. Love you guys, and until next time.